Hey guys, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Just wanted to do a quick live for you guys. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds here, see if anybody wants to jump in here. If you are in here, please let me know that you're in here by dropping a comment what you're doing tonight down in the comment section so I can kind of see who's here, and I can kind of see what you guys are all up to tonight. I had a thought that I wanted to share with you guys, because I'll just be frank with you guys. In my personal opinion, of course I see it in here, but I see it in other groups as well. There's a lot of talk and finger pointing that goes on in our industry. We all want to be successful, right? I don't think anybody gets into this business because they want to suck, or they just want to do really, really bad. But we all get into this business because we want to be successful. And when someone isn't successful, usually what transpires as a result of that is the upline is pointing the finger at the downline is pointing the finger at the upline saying you didn't work hard enough, the downline saying you didn't give me enough resources, you didn't train me enough, etc., etc., etc. And I think the question to this is, who's right? Who's right about this? Who's right, who's wrong? And I think really what it comes down to is there's situations where the downline's correct to question the upline, but it's not always the upline's fault. Guys, this has to be a two-way street. So if you are maybe not satisfied with your upline, these are the questions that I would ask you. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? How much effort are you putting in? Now, obviously, if you feel like you've been given no resources, no training, nothing whatsoever, it's obviously hard to know what to do when you don't know what there is to do. So if your upline has literally left you stranded on an island somewhere, and you feel like that upline has not given you the tools or the necessary course of action to kind of tell you how to be productive or where to put your time, that's obviously a problem. Point blank, right? That's obviously a problem to where you can't do anything with zero plan. And that's where I feel like the uplines are wrong. I feel like if somebody's just handing you a contract, you're filling out the contract, and they're like, all right, thanks, bye, like very transactional kind of thing, that's where the upline is wrong. But if the upline is providing you training, right, and maybe the upline spent 15 hours training you over a Zoom call, or maybe the upline spent 20 hours training you, 25 hours training you. I know this because this is me sometimes. I'm an upline to a lot of people. I'll spend an exuberant amount of time training certain individuals, and sometimes I gotta, as an upline, take my personal feelings out of it and try to determine, because I only have 24 hours in a day with everything I got going on, right? I got 2 podcasts that I run an agency, I got employees, right? I got lots of other agents, I got clients, I got a book of business I got to take care of, all kinds of stuff, like online trainings, courses, YouTube videos, YouTube channels, all these things that I run. When there's only one of me, and I only have the same amount of hours in a day that all of you have, I have to pick and choose my spots as an upline. And sometimes it's important for the downline to put yourself in that upline's shoes, right? If I have a person that's contracted with me, and let's say they have one contract with me, am I going to give that person as much time as a person that has 10 contracts with me? Probably not, right? If I've spent 20 hours training an agent, which I have done, and they're just very stagnant, right? They just don't seem to do much. I've kind of given them a nice game plan of kind of what I want to see them do going forward, and we don't see any activity from them. I've reached out a couple of times. I've talked to them, been like, what's going on? I find out they're, in an MLM, right? And that's where all the time is going, or I find out they went and got a job. Like, at the end of the day, my perception as an upline is that if I bring 10 agents into the business, probably 9 of them are going to flame out. I'm not wanting 9 of them to flame out. I'm going to do everything I can to prevent that. But at the same time, it's the stats. And so I'm trying to avoid wasting time on somebody that's not serious in the business, right? Like, me as an upline, I can't want it for you. And this is how, and I'm only telling you guys this because this is how your uplines are looking at things. This is how they're perceiving everything. They want to use their time valuably because they only have so many hours in the day. They can't talk to everybody all in a day. They can't, give everybody all of their time. And for me, guys, like, if I am working with an agent and I don't see that they're dedicated, right? They're doing like 4 or 5 different projects. I've seen agents like this. They're in an MLM, right? They're selling P&C. They're selling annuities, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that stuff, but they're trying to sell Medicare with me. They got a part-time job, right? They have a cleaning business. I've seen people that they say, oh, I'd run a cleaning business on the weekends. You know what that tells me? That person's all over the place. And they're not invested or committed into what I'm trying to help them build, and that's an insurance agency. So these are all kinds of things that go through an upline's mind, right? Now, like I said, are there bad uplines out there? Is it always the downline's fault? Absolutely not. I've talked to people that, have written 150, 200, 250, 300 apps their first year, all on the back of training that they'd use to educate themselves, right? They'll go watch YouTube videos, they'll buy courses, and that's their training. Their upline has nothing to do with it. I can tell you this, if there's an agent that's working with me and they're producing, they're going to get my attention. They're going to get my time. I'm going to be investing more into them. Now, granted, when we bring a new agent in, we always try to get them some training right off the bat. I mean, we have 6-Figure Medicare University. Your upline needs to be providing you resources to make you successful, to essentially give you the tools to be successful. But if your upline's giving you the tools and you're not taking the tools, if they've spent the time, if they've formulated the game plan, and you essentially haven't executed, the upline isn't always going to be picking up the phone and calling you and rattling your cage, right? Like, who has time for that? I've had agents where, like, I'll send them a contract and it takes them 4 or 5 months to fill out the contract. And then by the time they go fill it out, it's expired. They're like, oh, I need a new contract. Like, that person, to me, I just don't feel like they're serious, and I try to gauge who I spend my time with, who's, number one, invested with me. Because if you're invested with me, I'm invested with you. Will I help people that just have 1 or 2 contracts with us? Of course. But I'm not going to help them as much as someone that is all in with us. Guys, think about this before you just crucify your uplines. I've seen a lot of this stuff. There's bad uplines out there. 100%. If your upline's not training you, if they don't have training available, like for me, I always tell our new agents, go through 6-Figure Medicare University. You'll get it free. Go through 6-Figure Medicare University. Just do it. Go through 6-Figure Medicare University. Because me doing the same training with you live, one-on-one, for each individual person is inefficient for me. But if I don't provide someone 6-Figure Medicare University and I provide somebody no training and they're just lost, right, and they fail out of the business and we never even got on a Zoom call, we never did any training together, then that's on me as an upline. But keep this in mind, guys. It's easy to point fingers. It's hard to look in the mirror. This goes for you uplines too. There's situations where maybe I haven't handled it correctly as somebody's mentor, upline. And I can reflect back and look at that. It's a two-way street. And I'm not a big fan of one party demonizing the other. I really, really believe that it's got to be a mutually beneficial relationship. And if one party feels like it's not a mutually beneficial relationship, they might stop showing as much effort. And this is something that we got to be thinking about. This is something we have to be keeping in mind before we go off and just attack somebody on a forum somewhere, right? Like, if I spend 30 hours with an agent training them and they don't do anything I told them to do, I'm going to continue to keep spending 10, 20, 30, 40 more hours with that person. I'm like, okay, well, you're not doing what I told you to do. You know? The other thing to keep in mind, though, is I'm not a big believer that your upline should never call you until you produce. They should put some time into you. They should invest into you. And then if you don't take action, then they might start to drift away and spend less time with you. But if your upline's contracted you and that's the extent of it, then yeah, it's a bad upline, right? Like, your upline should be spending some time with you, helping you, investing into you. So it's a two-way street, guys. But keep that in mind. It's gotta you gotta be benefiting the upline as well. And uplines, you have to be benefiting your agents if you want to keep them. Because if you don't, in this industry, there's going to be other people that will swoop in and take them, that will provide that value, that will benefit them better to be with that other person than it is with you. And you could have had a diamond in the rough, but you just didn't want to help them because you're like, oh, I'll help them after they write. How stupid is that? How are they going to write if they don't know how to write? How are they going to find their, how are they going to find the back of their hand if they don't know they have a back of their hand? Bad analogy, but you get my point. Like, how are they going to get where they need to go if you don't give them any tools? So it's a two-way street. There's definitely two parties involved that are at fault, but it's not always the upline. This is what I wanted to stress tonight. I've seen plenty of great uplines. In fact, I'd say almost every single great upline in the industry that I consider a great upline, I've seen agents not work out with them and they go somewhere else and they badmouth that upline and they're like, well, they didn't help me. And those are the people that bounce around from upline to upline to upline to upline and take no personal responsibility, guys. So just keep it in mind. Ask yourself, what could I be doing? Ask, what has this person done for me? And if the answer is literally not much of anything, and they spent zero time with you and everything like that, then maybe it's time to move on. But before you make that decision to move on, think, what has this person done for me? Have they made an effort and maybe I'm not doing what they said? Just food for thought, my friends. It's late. I'm going to spend some time with my wifey. But I've been kind of chewing on this all day, and it's something I just wanted to talk with you guys about. Look at it from a different perspective. And before you point fingers and attack, just understand everybody's always going to point fingers at someone else because it's much easier to blame someone else than take responsibility for uplines and downlines. Certainly is for me too. But I think it's probably 50-50 a lot of times, guys. If an agent doesn't make it, I think it's probably 50% because they're with a bad upline, maybe 50% because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They had all the tools, they didn't use them. So, anyway, guys, love to hear your guys' thoughts about this. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I totally off? Do you completely disagree with me? Did I hit it right on the head? I'd love to hear your guys' opinion about this, so drop it down in the comment section. I'll be watching for it. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.